Hey guys, back again here. A couple weeks back I had created a video about puffy jackets that a few of you may have watched, and I mentioned if you got to that part of the video that I had ordered a new jacket for the winter and I was going to test out. I got it a few weeks ago and I've been wearing it pretty much every day since, and I want to give my reviews of it. It's the Enlightened Equipment Torrid Apex jacket. I really wanted to get a lighter synthetic jacket. I haven't had a real light synthetic jacket in a long time. The one I had was an REI one from probably about a decade ago. And I saw this one and I compared it against a couple other companies that were making similar jackets. And I just liked the customability of this one. So you could customize, some of the colors a little bit. And so I thought it was a good touch. So I went ahead, I did it. And I wanted to give you my opinions of it so far, and I'll give a little bit more detailed opinion of it, I think, maybe at the end of winter when I've used it more truly, camping and hiking. But I went with the 10D inner and outer, the dark blue on the outside and the orange on the inside. It's my school colors, so trying to represent my school. I also like to have a lighter color on the inside so that if I get in a situation where when I'm backpacking or something and if I'm lost, at least I can flip it inside out and have a little bit brighter color so that people can spot me a little easier. The way that Tim and those guys have designed this jacket in Enlightened Equipment actually could almost be reversible. You get rid of these tags because the way they did the liner, it's all one piece. I mean, there's no pockets and the zipper doesn't quite work, but it actually works pretty well reverse. And I actually found another use of reversing it that I'll tell you about in a second. I love the feel of the material. It feels like you're wearing your comfy blanket at home, laying on the couch. I find myself just sitting in the house, when the heater's not on, just wearing this all the time. So it feels very good on. Because it's the Apex, there's not a lot of seams that are stitched through it, which is nice. It makes it so there's not a lot of places where it's poking or constrictive. Which is really great, and the material just kind of flows over the material really well. There's quite a few things I like about it, and there's quite a few things, the same things that I don't like. One of them is the material. I love the material. It's nice and slippery, so it just feels kind of good when you're wearing it, but the slipperiness is actually sometimes a problem. You got to put your arm on something and your arm just wants to slip off because it is really slippery. If you have an Enlightened Equipment quilt, I'm assuming this is the same material that they make their quilts out of. So if you have one, I'm sure you know how it feels. I have a Katabatic Gear quilt, which I'm going to do a review of here in the next few weeks. But the material feels really similar, but this is a little slicker, I think, than the Katabatic Gear is. The other thing about it, because of the way it's designed, where the material just kind of flows over it, and it's not sewn through, which is a good thing. There's fewer cold spots. The material, it can get kind of bunchy, and occasionally it will grab onto like branches and things because the material is just kind of bunching out. So that's a little bit of a negative for me, but not a negative where I wouldn't buy it again. I would absolutely buy this coat again. In fact, I might buy another coat in some different colors because my wife likes it too, and so she might steal this one from me. The other thing about the material, the same sort of thing, and I'll show you from the inside, is again, because there's not a lot of seams anywhere, and there shouldn't be a lot of seams anywhere, the material within the sleeves, there's a lot of material inside the sleeves. So every once in a while when I go to put this jacket on, my arm's getting caught on the material, as you can see here, and I'm like pulling the material out with me. So I've learned to kind of deal with it, and you got to kind of stretch the material as you're putting it on, and sometimes even that, some of it kind of comes through. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but not that big a deal. See, it came through on this side too. So I'm not sure how they could fix that other than possibly attaching the material a little bit more somewhere in a seam to kind of keep it more in place from sucking the material here. So that's a little bit of a negative, but part of that free-flowing feeling is I think what makes the jacket so comfy, just because there's not a lot of things poking you and scratching you inside the jacket. So super, super comfortable. The other thing, there's another review out there. The only other real review that I've seen on this is by Darwin, who does some great videos, by the way. And he mentioned several things that I totally agree with, and there's a couple things that I disagree a little bit with. One of the things I disagree with him is he mentions about the sleeves. So I'm pretty sure he commented about this. These jackets are meant to be a half size larger. That's how they're marketed, so you can layer things. I would say the torso, I agree. This is a medium. I can wear mediums a lot of times in jackets as long as the sleeves are long enough for me because I have pretty long, gangly arms. But the sleeves for me are the narrowest sleeves of any puffy jacket I have, which I love because I'm a thin guy, and I'm usually flowing around inside these wide jackets. And I'll get some pictures in the video somewhere in the corner, comparing kind of the sleeve width with like my Ghost Whisperer jacket, which is probably about a good ½ inch to an inch wider than these sleeves are. So I actually really love these, but somebody that's a bit bigger or buffer than I might struggle. The other thing I like is the wrists are pretty closed, pretty narrow. Now they're not adjustable; it's just elastic, but they're pretty narrow. So for my skinny wrists, it keeps the heat in pretty well. What I don't like is they're so narrow. You really gotta struggle to get your hands in and out of this thing because the elastic doesn't have a ton of stretch on it. So it can be a little problematic from that perspective. The other thing about the wrist that I don't really like is the sharpness, and I'm not sure you're gonna be able to get it, so I'll try to get a picture on here. The material is kind of sharp where it's bunched up, and that's the only thing in this jacket that kind of rubs me a little bit on my arm, is where it's all bunched up, it rubs, and the elastic inside almost seems like it's not sewn to the fabric too much. It's just kind of in there, because what will happen sometimes when I put it on, the elastic will actually twist, and then I'll have this weird feeling I've got to go through and untwist it. So that's probably the most annoying piece of this jacket is the way that they did the elastic on the wrists. So if I had a wish list, I would have them change that piece. The other thing that I love the fact that it has pockets for a jacket that's this light. I want to say mine weighs in, I can't remember for sure, 7.7 ounces, but don't quote me on that. I'll put something in there that's, I'll weigh it after this video, and I'll put something up there to give you the exact weight. Again, this is a medium hooded. I like that it has pockets because a lot of my Montbell X-Lite down jacket doesn't have any pockets, but it's crazy light, like 5.6 ounces. But the other jacket I was looking at, I think, was Nanotuck, and they have like a kangaroo type pouch, like a hooded sweatshirt, which I wanted something that zipped, and these do zip, which is great. Problem is, to keep weight down, I'm sure, they made the zippers really small so that to get in and out of this pocket, my hand touches the entire zipper. I'm hoping you can see that on the camera. So if you've got big meaty hands, I don't, you might have some more difficulty getting your hands in and out of this pocket, or both pockets. But it's it's not that huge a deal. I'm just happy that it has a pocket and that they zip up so I can put something in there and not worry about it falling out. Which my other go-to jacket that I've done a bit of a review on in my puffy discussion is the X-Lite Anorak, which has a pocket, but again, it's the hoodie kangaroo style pocket, no zippers. So if you put anything in there, you're gonna lose it. I love the hood on this thing. I'll take my hat off here. I love the hood. I like the fact that it's a little oversized, so when I'm sleeping in it, I can kind of pull it down over my head, and you can kind of cover my eyes with it. Another comment that Darwin said in his, and I agree with him, is he talks about where these little cord stoppers are for the draw on the hood. They kind of poke you in the neck. What I suggest you do, if you're willing to do it, and this is what I've done, is when I'm going to sleep in this jacket, I turn it inside out because there's no sticky things on the outside, and put the hood on, and now I got nothing poking me in the neck, and I can zip it up. It's backwards, but I can zip it up, and as you can see, this, like I said, this jacket could almost be reversible, like I said, because of the way that they designed it. Get no pockets, but this is how I get around the little pokey things poking me in the neck when I sleep. If you're willing to do that, if you're willing to put the dirty side in on you when you're in your sleeping bag or whatever, feel free. I don't really hike in these, so they're not really getting super dirty. They're in my pack for when I'm belaying or just sitting around and getting ready to go to sleep. So it's part of the sleep system. But this is so comfy as part of a sleep system. I'm actually really excited to do a little bit more colder weather camping, so I can try to sleep in this and just see if it actually is as good as I think it's going to be, because the material is not crinkly at all. So all in all, I would totally buy this jacket again. And like I said before, I probably will buy another one of these jackets for my wife, because she seems to really like the feel of it. I'm really tactile, so the feel of a jacket is really important to me. It's just recently that I started buying things online that I couldn't feel ahead of time. But I have not been disappointed with most of the purchases that I've made from some of these companies, like Montbell and Z-Packs. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say. That the hood is adjustable, but it's not that big a deal. Most of these hoods are adjustable, but it's got the little micro cord locks. And the only thing, again, this little guy poking here is weird. I wish they would do maybe something a little different with this. The zipper works really well. The elastic bottom is nice. In a perfect world, I would prefer a draw cord so I can kind of control the elasticity down here a little bit more, make it a little tighter on me when I need to, but that's a small thing for me. I wish it could zip into its pocket better. You can kind of, again, I'll put a picture of what it looks like zipped into its pocket, but it doesn't do that well. But other than that, I would totally buy this jacket again. I totally recommend it if you're looking for a mid-weight, down-ish feeling jacket, but synthetic, so you can wear it in wetter weather and not have a problem. For me, I'm a thin guy. I get cold easy. So jackets that people say are good for them down to 30 are usually good for me down to 40. Sleeping bags, same thing. I'm about, I probably would be best in a woman's sleeping bag if they made them to fit me, just because they usually rate them about 10 degrees warmer. So for me, I've had this down to about 39, started to feel a little cold. So I think the sweet spot for me would be, mid 40s if I'm just sitting around, or if I'm being active. I'm sure I could go much cooler than that, but just sitting around camp when I would usually be having this on, I started to get a little chilly when it was at 39 degrees. So and that's the same for the mountain hardware. I took this out the other day. It was 42 degrees out, and I tried on all my jackets. I went outside and sat outside for 30 minutes with all these jackets to see which one's warmer. This was the warmest one. I think it's because it doesn't have any cold spots, because the way it's sewn. It was a toss-up between the second place was a toss-up between the X-Lite Anorak and the Ghost Whisperer jacket, but I think I lean a little bit toward the Ghost Whisperer jacket just because it had fewer cold spots, in my opinion. But this was the warmest jacket of the bunch that I had as far as lightweight puffies. Doesn't compress as well as the down jackets do, just because it's synthetic, but Apex actually does do a pretty good job compressing. Even though you shouldn't really compress, synthetic too much. Any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I will totally respond. And if you'd like to see something different about it, I can put up another video if there's something that you're missing, or I can put a picture on my Instagram and put it in the comments for you as well if there's something you want to see a picture of that I don't put in the video. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful.